Rochelle is going to join us.
Yep.
Possibly.
Is she baking tonight?
Who knows? Who knows? Who knows what she's doing? Okay, Yaz is gone.
Yep.
Cool. I reckon we get started. And let's see if Rochelle joins us.
Yeah, that sounds cool.
I've got some birthday chocolates for everyone.
Oh my god. Oh my god. I've been craving chocolate all night and there's just none that's really
Yeah, okay, I'll have one for you, Al.
Thank you.
Oh, they're good.
Did you have a nice birthday?
What's that?
Did you have a nice birthday?
You know what, Vanessa? I had the most beautiful birthday.
Oh.
I know. I was lying in the bed the night before and I was like, oh my God, I don't think I've ever felt this fucking content. I've never felt this content before. And I was just like,
oh wow.
Amazing. And the day it was slow, it was simple, and it was really fun. So thank you for asking. It was great.
Yeah, well done to you for creating that.
I know. And it, you know where it ended? At a school reunion. So it was like a party that someone else had organised for me. And they all sang happy birthday to me.
Oh, how perfect.
Yeah.
How perfect. That's almost like the Conscious Cravings for my birthday where everybody celebrated. How cool is that? But you just did it a bit more bigger, of course.
Yeah.
What can I say, Al?
No holding back.
No.
How cool.
Oh
Yeah.
God, it's so liberating. It's so liberating.
Oh, awesome. I'm pretty laid back and cruisy actually. I'm in this really weird state, so it'll be interesting to see what unfolds. I was actually excited, Vanessa, that you're here because I actually thought today, man, some of the conversations we have actually are really good and would be good to have them recorded and have that sort of stimulation, you know. Because I was actually really enjoying some of the conversations. Because at the end of the day, I wasn't. I was just holding. Well, no, it's funny. I was going to say I was holding a space. Well, in a way, I was. But in that space, you could play and find your own way.
Yeah, it was amazing for me. Like it was just like ping, and it was. I know you facilitated and you held the space. I felt like I got it too. And then I found later in the day when I had questions that arose that I could answer them.
Yep.
Wow.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah. Or I
Awesome.
could go, what would Ali say? And I could tap into that wisdom.
What would Ali? That's your own wisdom.
Yeah. Yeah. And then I had this space for a couple of hours where I had no questions. And that was really, really strange.
Shit, instant.
Yeah.
Oh, how cool is that though? That's so cool. I'm just kind of in that space with you. Like I'm just let me just sit here. Adio then. What you feeling? What would you like to go? Well, do you want to extend on anything or chat about anything then, Vanessa, that you've gained from or want to go into that? But, I mean, I know that you fairly well covered it today because I think you got to the gist of it. But you could probably share with Gabrielle what we're on about and then we could all see what comes from it.
Yeah, so now I'll have to recollect the conversation.
No.
So I'd been stewing all day on something that Ali had said the other day, which was I've been spending lots of time and lots of money trying to connect to my higher self. And when we were out on the weekend, she said that these weren't your words, but pretty much that if your mind is murky, then the higher self is going to be murky as well because it's one and the same. Is that right?
Yeah. Something like that. Yep.
And so my question was today, is it better then to clear your mind rather than to try and connect to your higher self? And you again picked up that word trying in my sentence.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, where I realized that the only reason I wasn't connected to my higher self was because I'd put that block in my thinking.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
And then what flowed on for me later in the day was that I again I caught myself saying, so then I changed the words to the only thing I need to do, which is pretty much trying in another word, to be a vibrational match to my source. And then I straight away had pop into my head, well, when you choose to be, you will.
And you already are.
Yeah.
And so you've chosen to be?
Yeah. I certainly have.
I reckon like the whole separation of self, once we do it, we're trying to connect to our higher self. We are our higher self. We're trying to clear our mind. Our mind is clear. Like all those things that we think. And as soon as we think that we're not with our higher selves, therefore we keep looking for it, yet it's already just sitting here waiting. Yeah. And same with clearing your mind. Your mind's already clear. It's only you think it's not, so therefore it won't be. Yeah. So some really simple, but cool things that you've come across. And I think the best thing we got out of it in this, Gabrielle, that we were talking about was that I was just allowing her, and Vanessa says I'm rambling. Well, I always ramble, but I think the whole thing about rambling is discovering yourself through the ramble and allowing yourself to find yourself without someone saying, oh, this, because at the end of the day, I can pick it up. When Vanessa was talking to me, I could pick it up right at the beginning, but it was like, nah, let it go and let it unfold, and then just give her key questions, and then she discovers all of that herself, which means that she's found her own way of finding and understanding instead of someone else facilitating a way that she thinks she has to do it that way to get to there, whereas she's now discovered her own way.
Yeah. I'm going to give Ali some credit where it's due, because I'd been trying all afternoon to do it on my own, and my thoughts were just going around and around and around in a circle. And it was very much Ali who broke that circuit and allowed me to have that breakthrough. So, and what I love is that it was done in a way that's empowered me to be able to do it again if I find myself in the same situation.
Yeah. That's what I enjoy. And that's what I get to witness. For me, it was that Vanessa discovered it herself, and I was just there to watch it unfold, and it was kind of, that's really cool. And
so I'm curious if I can interrupt.
Yeah.
So I'm curious, Ali, when you said, so it's just the role is just to the prompting questions.
For this
role, letting Vanessa ramble and then just asking prompting questions.
Yeah. I was sitting there, some of those prompting questions. It would be quite cool to revisit, actually.
Yes.
Okay, I'm just going to pull up our message, Vanessa, and because we didn't ramble too long. Okay, I'll just can I recall that? Do you mind if we go through the message, Vanessa?
Sure.
Okay. So literally she's been contemplating about the murky and the clear, which we discovered. So, and I questioned, clear mind, higher self, same thing, ? Maybe question being, what is it you think you are not, and trying to find what already is, and trying is the clue in the message. So, and then perhaps embracing the clear vessel you are, allowing its own expansion and expression as it is to you, being the same. And that's the journey life sort of stuff. I think there's some really valid stuff that she brings to, which is everyday people in your questioning, Vanessa, I just got that my mind is still trying to find something that I need to do, and there's that word trying. And what I get is that when you come to peace with your mind, there's nothing for the mind to do, just to experience those thoughts come in and out without your attachment to, needing to control that. So, and then she's written, no, I think I'm not connected to my higher self, hence that's my experience, she'd come to that understanding through our rambling, which I think is the biggest gift you can give anyone is, then apologises for the ramblings. But I think the biggest thing is giving, and it's not even holding the space, because Vanessa and I were talking about holding spaces the other day, and there's nothing to hold because you are it. There is no space to hold because you are the space. So it takes even that out of it. You just turn up.
Yes.
Yeah.
Presently now. And yeah. So she's beautiful put a little mouse running around the treadmill. And I think the biggest thing is that it's allowed her to find her own awareness. You know, and I think that's what I got out of it today, is giving someone the chance to find their awareness their own way, even though we have a whole lot of stuff saying this is what you can do and this is what you can do and this is what you can do, and what I got out of your conversation, Vanessa, was more so for me that it is about empowering another their own ability to find it within themselves. And I think that's the biggest gift that you can give anyone, instead of saying this is how you do it, and if you do it this way, there's only this way. And everyone's out there searching for their higher self through other people's sources, which hey may work because we're all one. Yet the reality is we are that.
Yeah.
It's only our separation and thinking we're not, that we aren't.
Yeah.
Hence, which is the power of the thought.
Yeah.
In creating our own reality.
Yeah. So, you know, what's the importance about a thought? You know, that the thought has its own life and journey too. It depends what you want to feed it. Because it's everything's only fed by attention. The more you give it, the more you get of it. So if a thought can come and go, and you can be in Atlantis in one moment, but you can be in conscious cravings having a coffee another moment, or you can do it momentarily. Oops, I'm just there. Oops, I'm back here. Oops, I'm somewhere else.
And then the power of focus.
Yeah, choice of focus.
That reminds me of I was telling you I was watching the documentary on Thich Nhat Hanh, the Buddhist monk.
Yeah.
The one that was as exciting as watching paint dry.
Yet, fear of missing out, you had to stay on and watch it. Yeah.
I just had to watch because I just, I was determined something had to happen, but it didn't.
Although, I love you, Vanessa.
This is much more exciting, let me tell you. He did say that he realised that he was lying down watching the stars and the moon one day, and he realised that although they were, millions of billions of miles away, he could be there in a second.
Yeah.
And I think that's the same thing you're saying, that,
yeah,
it's all the same. You can be anywhere.
Yeah. So for me, it's how important is this moment here now, and where do you want to be? But so that takes me to.
Really,
oh yeah, go.
I was just going to say, but really, there is nothing but this moment.
Yeah. So in this moment, in this reality that we're all sitting here right now, fully immersed into this conversation. So if you're in the dominant space of being that vibrates within you, surely must have an effect in every alternate reality, multi-dimensional being, every purpose, every space, every whatever that you're affecting. So if this cylinder runs at and I'm going to use words and justifications, yet they're only those because that's the best way to describe it. So if you're functioning from a love frequency at this space, then surely that ripples out into every alternate reality of your space, being, place, whatever, in every experience here, wherever, and that would affect the whole outcome of the whole being.
Yep. That makes sense to me.
Whoa! And that's rambling, and I was rambling. Yeah, so the present moment now, and so like we can all do all our studies and stuff, and look, honestly, to me now they're playgrounds and you get excited about, at the moment I think I'm venturing down all these other different paths of playing, and I just think it's just not having an area dominate the outcome. That's so you spend 120% of that focus in that moment, that which is detached from this physical moment here, out into some other moment out there. I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but for me, it's just sitting there going, well, if I'm in this moment here, it's affecting that moment out there anyway. And who's not to say it doesn't do it in reverse? I don't know. I'm more presently conscious, aware of this moment, perhaps, than I am. No, I can't even say that. I was going to say than I am in every other moment, alternately, because I think what I've found in the last few days with the reality that I play is that presently here now I ended up dabbling in Atlantis, that energy space at that particular moment, which rippled out and made so much sense on, like on a mass consciousness awareness moment, if you want to get into grids and bits and pieces. That particular moment caught my attention, yet I was just thought I was doing a bit of art play. So yet the reality, it was hooked into that arena, that playground. Am I making sense? Your eyes don't look like it, Gabrielle. They're looking a bit cross-eyed. Do you get what I'm saying? Or was that your as they roll back?
I got distracted by something that flashed up on my screen.
Oh, okay, that's cool.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah,
that's cool. Obviously, that moment was more present than I was. That was a choice of playground.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. So no, that's kind of. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think there's a wrong or right. I just think there's, at this particular moment, my awareness is that how important this moment is. And I think that comes down so much so that everything has meaning. There's a story right out, around us all the time. There's nothing to look for. There's nothing, because it's all information that's right around us all the time. So if you were to go and do a personal journey study, even with my work or whatever, that's got to one point of, and that might be a stimulant into helping somebody understand themselves. Yet the reality, once they understand that, even, is that they walk outside and there's information, right? The kids are giving them information about themselves. The meal you're cooking is giving you information about yourself. Like tonight, for example, I was cooking this meal really for the sake of people eating. There was no connection of with the food itself, and I felt it, and even went to eat the chicken and went, oh, that's pretty tasteless, and it was more about my disconnection. And even though it's connected perfectly, the whole thing is about not being presently there and enjoying that space, and two different spaces to play in, two different results, totally connected to your meal and your food, and you go and eat it and you can totally appreciate it, or you're doing it because it needs to be done, and that's all, you just want to give these guys a meal because you really can't be shit, you can't be, and you go and sit in, it's just that space. Two different realities, same thing. Overcooking too.
Funnily enough, I had the complete opposite experience as I enjoyed my husband's cooked birthday dinner for the third night in a row.
Mate, you got birthday month. You are so onto it.
Well, it's the curries that just keep on giving. They make massive batches of these curries and they're delicious. And anyway, actually, before I came in here, I walked in and I said, babe, I'm coming to say thank you for the third night in a row, for cooking with so much love, because I can really taste it in the food.
Well, there you go. See? Yeah. I don't know whether the boys would have got love in their tummy that they'll be full, but I'm not actually sure what sort of vibe whatever reality they want to play from it. They've probably absorbed all the taste they need because it's been done for them and it tastes fantastic. You know?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, Ali, I'm curious with what you were sharing. I'm curious about why it is that we are present to this particular reality.
Choice.
Ooh.
So to me, okay, so what's the most important reality that you'd like to play in?
Well,
so if you,
so this actually comes back to my question about I'm still, and I haven't quite got it, even though I believe it, I haven't quite got it, that whole sense of there is no time.
Yep.
There's only now.
Yep.
And that video that I don't know if it was you, Vanessa, or you, Ali, that shared it with me, but I can't remember who shared it with me, but the one where the guy talks about actually it's like your life is a house, and in every moment, every room has something occurring.
Yep.
And which is like, what has been and what will be is actually all occurring at exactly the same time.
Multiple realities.
Yeah, but I'm only aware of one.
Yeah, I think for me, okay, this is just my perspective, and that could be whatever. But for me, I like the house analogy. So that next moment thought, that next moment action, that next moment slips you into that different reality outcome. So you got the multiple realities playing out, multiples of you, trillions of whatever. So if you decided to turn left instead of right, you'd go into a different reality. And so you play. So all the outcomes are then threaded. So one, I bet the best way I can describe it is one thought and the amount of outcomes that can come from one thought. Now, and how many perspectives you can see through one. So if we all looked at something, we all see different things. So that therefore our realities are all different. Do you know what I mean? And if we all see the same thing, then we were probably all joined into the same reality for that moment. But at each moment and each second, think how many thoughts come through your mind and how many, so multitudes of realities of places to play. The multitudes of outcomes. It's like cooking tea. It could be a really nice tea or it could be a burnt tea. It's just that one moment. That element, leaving that on for that extra second means a burnt tea, or taking it off means a nice cooked tea. So, and that's it's just those one split things gives different outcomes, different realities. That's how I can best describe it, if that makes sense.
It makes amazing.
It looks it. And that's what I mean. And so I've got nothing against, like we've talked about for ages, the meditation station, the bits and pieces, because I do enjoy going there, but it's not something that I did probably enjoy a lot more before, the alternate realities in that space even. So is that just another door, another window, another whatever pocket of where you want to travel, where you want to play for that moment in time? And reality is it's probably a real happening thing in that space, time, place. And it's happening exactly like it is here. You've just slipped into that doorway.
It's funny because your analogy actually then makes it reinforces for me that whole concept of there is no right or wrong, because actually in each moment you can go this way, but and that just goes, or you can go that,
I think that's a bit I think it's because what I've found lately, and I've been listening to the evolution of our experience at this particular moment, and we're getting so many the fragments of one word. So to me, if we'll put it into linear. So if we were looking back in time when, mum and dad, it was very black or white, yes or no, or whatever, those words and those fragments of they've got thinner and thinner, threads of so many varieties of outcomes, whereas when we were kids it was black and white, yes meant yes and no meant no sort of thing, and shit, that's what we didn't do. So they're the two alternate experiences we only limited ourselves to having. Now a kid will say, no, bugger that, mum, I'm going to go and do this, or even if you've got a no. So the realities are stretched more. their experiences are stretched more, and those, and that's a yes no word. If you're talking, I'm just talking words. We use words all the time. I just think that I think there's so many contrasts of outcomes from it. That's what I'm trying to get across. I think the contrasts of one thing has a multitude of experiences, and it has a lot of contrasts. It's just not limited to one experience.
Which would make sense if consciousness is expanding.
Yeah. Well, it's already, what if we say consciousness is already expanded and we're just opening up our space to play in it? So if everything exists, it's already here. We've just limitedly played in the playground.
Oh, God. Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Because I believe, I think that's it. Yeah. Yeah. That would be really good to remember that, whatever that was.
It was good.
Yeah.
It was good. It's actually true, because I've noticed recently that I've been saying a lot to myself, anything is possible. Anything is possible. And I keep thinking, fuck, I can't wait to see what comes from the repetition of that.
Wow, whatever you're expecting.
What's that?
Whatever you're expecting.
What did you say? What am I expecting?
No, I said whatever you're expecting. But in saying that, when you take expectation away, because that's probably where I'm playing for, I have, kind of contrast there, though. There's an aspect here that probably could have it played out this way that I believe I know it to be. Yet I've also got kind of also a detachment that's unhooked there, that's allowing that outcome to go out and bring it in a more formatted way that it chooses to be expressed. So it's like I'm not holding on to my concepts as I've got a business, this is what I'm going to do, this is how I'm going to do it, this is going to do, and that's it. I'll make a t-shirt and I'll sell that, that's it. It's like, okay, I play in this arena, this is what I have a visual outcome seeing. No hurry to get there, because there is no such thing for time anymore. I just can't remember not being, what we were talking about, I can't not remember being alive, so for God's sake, I'll do it whenever, and it's just allowing it to unfold, and it's look, I think I used the word benevolent, the best outcome for that experience. So what if that thought that I may carry, maybe just having its own experience through my experience and expression, and blah 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 blah, and out it goes. Do you know what I mean? It's just not, okay, I'm not holding that thought, and I'm not going to box it that way, and I'm not going to deliver it that way, and this is how it's going to be presented. Yeah.
Yeah. And I love that. I remember when I was putting together the course, Ali, and I remember saying to you, oh yeah, I've got a vision that's going to be this and this, and you're like, don't limit yourself. And I thought, oh fuck, okay, yeah, I'll let that go, and then just see what comes.
Yeah. And look where we are here today.
I know. This wasn't part of the plan.
Yeah.
Oh, not yours.
And I've got a whole documentary about you going, because let me tell you, it would be more exciting than the one I watched.
Looking, and I'm really excited about it, your little video channel that you started too. That's going to be, priceless. Priceless.
Yeah, no, and even when I was recording that, I was like, and I love to dance. And I'm like, really? Am I going to be dancing on it?
Oh, wait.
No,
let's just play a toning and watch your eyes roll and have a bit of, it's just, then we were joking, actually. We were seriously joking about all these quotes we could give Goopology, all these t-shirt quotes, because there's so many of them. And I said, what did we say? No white jacket needed or something, we were joking about something.
Been there, done that.
Yeah, been there, done that, and true story, # true story, and just like things like that. But the reality, and what that gave me though, is for every experience is an experience, but don't hold them in that experience, and allow them to be more than that experience. And that's what you gave me with those, with that, your personal version of that, even though it's a lot of humor and fun because we can look at it from that perspective if we choose to. There's a hell of a lot of people that aren't looking at it from that perspective. But don't hold yourself and camp in there, and that's what we're saying to, it's a place of play. It's a place of play, and grasping that. Oh, and if they want to play in it full time, it's okay too. Personally, we can't judge an experience because that could be their happy place, their biggest outcome, their biggest that's what they've come to experience. What is, this is this whole life thing. We've come here to experience it. So therefore, what may look terrible to us for someone going through could be their, they could be having a picnic in our reality.
Yeah.
Makes sense, not?
No, completely.
So what's happening in your world apart from your video games that you're playing now? The new video games out are going to be Goopology. See these kids.
What else is going on in my world? Wow, that's probably been the main thing. I can't even think of how my day was. I had a great day. I had a moment where, and actually something you said shifted me, Ali. I was expecting Paddy to have a sleep.
Yeah.
And I had all these ideas about what I was going to do when he slept today. And then he didn't sleep. And I was finding myself getting a bit annoyed with him.
How dare you cramp my style, yeah?
And then I realised, and then I said something like to you, I've been trying to get Paddy down for a while, but he doesn't want to sleep. And you're like, oh, yeah, who would on such a beautiful day? And and in that moment I was like, oh, far out, I had an expectation. So I dropped my expectation and we went out and we had the most beautiful afternoon together out in the sun. And I was like, oh. And I actually was thinking my next video is expectations are a joy killer.
Too easy. Oh, look at that.
I know. So thank you. Like, it was just to realize I was in expectation.
Yeah.
And was just so powerful to go, oh, okay, no. And then off we went. So, yeah. But it felt like a big thing to get to launch Groupology and just, yeah, I'm so grateful I've done that. And, all I could hear myself say was, I'm free.
Oh, yeah. Oh, awesome.
The name is so awesome.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
my good light, Vanessa. Thank you. Yeah. I know, it just came. I was just like, oh, my God. Yeah.
Too easy. Yeah. The thought came and you didn't even have to think about it.
No, I wasn't even thinking about it. I know.
I think that's...
I find myself in that space. I was like, I don't even know how I know how I got there because it was just how it unfolded. I was like, oh my God. And then I was there and I was like, wow.
That's, they talk about the no thinking space, or even though there's lots of thoughts, I think it's like that coming to peace with everything going on in your head because they're all doing their own thing and having their own experience. And then all of a sudden, anything of value in that moment goes, oh, yeah, by the way. And then it's like, oh, yeah.
Yes.
And that, I think, is more living presently than trying to control what those thoughts, yeah. That analogy of those yoga, when you go to a yoga session and they say, look at the thought, close your eyes and look at the, just allow your thoughts to be like clouds and float by. I think that's a really good, just a way of thinking about it. And the ones that come in, if they sit in there and you can spend as much time in there and just then let them go, and then no expectation of what it should be, and it allows it to be what it wants to be. Yeah, breaking down that even thoughts have an experience.
So I've been wondering, and I think I know what your answer is going to be.
I love it. She's answered herself.
My question was going to be, can thoughts come from different places? Like I've been playing with, are there those thoughts that come from your mind, and are there thoughts that come from maybe source or somewhere else? But I have a feeling you're going to say it's all the same.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So, it can only be separate if you see it separate.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
God, you're bright. God, that light that's shining on you.
Yeah. It's been a long journey to get to this point.
Oh yeah, no. It's only a journey because we make it a journey. I look back and I think, I said to Gabriel one day, if somebody said to me, would you do life any, how people get to a point and they reflect on life and they say, oh, would you do it any different? And they're all on their deathbed going, no, I wouldn't change a thing. And I'm like, fuck, shit, I'd change a lot if I knew what I knew. Like, there's some shit that I wouldn't even, there's no need to do things hard. There is no need to do things hard. Seriously, that's a belief. Like, I thought at first, I've got amazing children. You'd want those children to be party life. End of the day, we're a vessel for all experiences, and we're all having an experience, and we're all just experiencing whatever we want to choose to experience. It's just, I can't say that. I mean, I'd love my children to be part of that experience, obviously. In the same sentence, I'm also saying, but if they weren't, they'd be having it somewhere else. Like they'd still be experiencing, because it's just an experience.
Yeah.
And it's, we get too tied up. Oh yeah. That was a big epiphany for me. Just that whole listening to people, I wouldn't change, or people going, oh, you got to do this before you die. You got to do this. You got to tick off these, and you got to live without regret, and you've got to be. And it's like, oh, seriously, dude, just chill the fuck out and just experience this for whatever it is, and you can make it whatever. You can go and tick your boxes and whatever. But I think all those points of ticking boxes, you get to a point. And then there's wanting something else, and then there's wanting something else, and then there's wanting something else. You get and tick that box, but then you get to that same feeling, don't you? You get to that point, and it's like, oh, now what?
And I think, I mean, I know I've certainly had the experience where when you actually do get something that you've wanted, you feel empty, like you don't even feel joy about getting it.
Yeah.
The joy is in the process of manifesting it rather than the actual getting it.
Yeah, so how important, again, it's coming back to that moment, coming back to just enjoying the ride, whether it's a left turn or a right turn into whatever room we want to play in, and just have fun, without too. Well, the best way we know how, and at the end of the day, there's no right or wrong way, is there? That's what we've come to the conclusion of. There's a Vanessa way, there's a Goop way, and there's an Ellie way. And, and they're all different ways, yet we're all sitting here in this moment enjoying it.
And I think for me, I've been learning lately, it's about honouring the experience that you have chosen.
Tuning up and playing in it.
Rather than resisting, Vanessa.
Yeah, so even, I mean, I've had ongoing problems with migraines, so it's, for me now, I'm trying to go, well, thank you to my body for experiencing that, because clearly that's part of the reason why, I chose to be here in some way to experience that.
Yeah,
there's me. Sorry, you go.
No, it's a slightly different take on that for me. Is that because I've got, obviously, I tell the story of have heavy periods, I have low iron, blah, blah, blah. And I got to the point and thought, you know what? I'm over that story. It is what it is. I'm not even going to try and work it out. And if I'm feeling tired, I'm feeling tired. If I'm feeling good, I'm feeling good. If I'm feeling shit, I'm feeling shit. I really don't care anymore. It's really funny because there are more people concerned about, oh, you probably could go and get, get all chopped up and, get it all sorted and do this and do that. And it's really because they think I'm missing out. There's inconveniences on personal on days when I probably do have a heavy bleed, and it's like, that's one day or whatever, 1.5 days usually out of my period. And it's like, and the other day it was so funny. The other day Murray came over and he just said, and I was in bed, and he goes, stay in bed, I'll make you smoothie. The next day was, stay in bed, I'll do this. And I was like, you know what? I'm just actually really enjoying this. And I laid in bed, and that was when I got that epiphany about the tree. I was looking out the window and going, there's the tree chopped back, and now the pigeons, it's regrowing. It's, it's still of service. It's reincarnated its arms and its limbs and bits and pieces, and it's serving these pigeons. And I'm getting to have that experience right there, right now. That to me was the ultimate experience of life through what I have been thinking is an inconvenience. Because I wasn't, like you, don't bother fighting. It is what it is. If I'm laying it, but to go out, it's such a good experience as it was as winning lotto. That's the whole thing. It felt that good with that awareness of seeing a tree being just reblossoming and being of service to someone.
Yeah.
So, mate, I just need like you, shift a perspective. Don't dwell on it. And of course it's been my focus, so therefore it's served itself well. Do you know, the more energy you give it, the more you get of it, and all that sort of story. I'm an advocate. I play that game. But yeah, it's like you say, it's surrendering and just, it is what it is.
And
Ali,
not labeling it? Is that what I'm hearing you say?
Sorry?
And not labeling it.
Yeah, like it just, God, if it puts, yeah, exactly. I've even taken away that whole iron deficiency story and the whole whatever. Today I was really hit tiredness and I was like, what the, getting a bit flustered. That's why tea followed. So I just carried that right through into tea, and then just gorged tea, and then just trying to fill that void of whatever I thought I needed to fill, because that's how I was feeling. But seriously, right here, right now, I'm feeling fantastic. so it's again, where your mind goes and what story it tells and how you play it out. And if you're tired, you're tired. Like I did, So I'm not fighting that anymore. I'm just like, who do I think I need to be? What is my body meant to be functioning at? They're all thoughts, and then your meeting criteria is because if you get your blood test, does it meet this? Does it meet this? Does it meet this? Does it meet this? Seriously, there's some guy that's probably lived to 105 and probably got, or someone that's just as bad, just as good or bad if you want to die, give it a label, but probably could be having the same experience. It's only seen because it doesn't meet a criteria. We don't meet, and then we start thinking, oh, we're meant to be like this.
Yep.
But what if we're not meant to be like that?
Yep.
And saying that, you got to serve yourself to that works for you. If going and getting something done about it works for you, go and get something done about it. I've got no marathon I'm running. I've got, like at the end of the day, I can sit and rest and do whatever and go out for a coffee with friends. I don't think that's, I don't think that's too hard to worry about. As long as there's a toilet there, you're okay. What were you going to say, Goop? I cut you off.
Yeah, I had a different question, but it was changing the topic slightly. So I was happy
go for
to.
it.
Vanessa, if you had anything else you wanted to ask?
No, all good. Thank you for asking.
That's right. What did I want to ask? Oh, I've been thinking about, and I don't know what you said that triggered the thought while we were talking before, but I've been thinking about the whole environment sector.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, if the environment sector was to shift its focus away from, save the forests, stop deforestation, save the animals, whatever, like that kind of more fear and negative based language.
Yep.
And then I was thinking, so I kind of got it for that sort of thing. I could see how you could shift the focus to a more positive perspective. But I was thinking, say with something like Stop Adani, like if it hadn't have triggered what it triggered in me, I wouldn't have got involved.
Yep.
And I'm like, well, okay, if none of the green groups got involved because they didn't want to give focus to a coal mine.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm listening.
Does that not then mean the coal mine would get built?
And look, honestly, there's your variance. So there's a whole fragment. There's multitudes of fragments of outcomes.
Yes.
You know, seriously, because everybody's got their own consciousness. They've got their own thing they're playing in their own, you know, whether it's anger or whether it's guilt or whether whatever, it's all playing, it's serving its purpose. And I think it comes down to even taking that out of the picture, as in the coal mine or the whatever. I'm just trying to pull up a quote I posted tonight, which is totally appropriate for this.
Of course. Of course.
I know, but it's like, okay, I've got a slow Wi-Fi here that doesn't work. Okay. The world doesn't want to be saved. It wants to be loved. That's how we save it.
Yes. 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 Yes.
So to me, and how does that happen? To me is learning to love yourself. So it starts with you.
Yes. Yes.
So you affect the environment. This is what we're saying about the environment in our house. You affect those people, it ripples out, it affects it in your work area, it ripples out, it affects it, and it has a mass that the self-love has more, because then we're depleting, if you want to go on a consciousness space, we're depleting angry in self. Then no need to be angry in the world, which then the world doesn't show us being angry back, which is blah, blah, blah. So I think there's still multiple realities, more dominant ones. It wouldn't be so dominantly in our face.
Yes. 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 Yes.
Again, it's a playground.
So really, it's just, you know, that whole thing about changing yourself if you want to change the world. And then,
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Very simplistically. I think all those groups could function. This is personally, and this is what I've always thought, and this is my dad's advocate on cancer stuff coming back, is that I think the way that we service our support has to be tweaked. So the frequency they penetrate out isn't feeding the wrong vibration on a frequency scale, creating more of what they don't want.
Yes. 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 Yes.
Yeah, so, you know, let's support cancer. Well, when you say you are supporting something, you keep it going. So it's tweaking those words, you know, and in all honesty, there's, as people know, there's already remedies out there. So that it's those things that what we've got to be aware of what we feed.
Yes.
In saying that, here's the contrast. So the multiple contrast. This is about everything. You can find some loophole in every single thing I'm going to tell you. So that's the whole thing, and it's going to be yours for whatever. But the reality is that what if we're in the space of non-effect, experiencing by choice? So if you're functioning from a frequency of just that self-love, self-worth and self-value, and that's all you want to penetrate out into the world, see the world, blah, 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 and you've got that so fine-tuned, then at the end of the day, you can still walk past and feel, in this moment, I want to drop $2 into this whatever they're doing, because that's a moment that feels valid and validated to you in that moment. It doesn't necessarily mean that you buy into supporting, because you're holding this, your frequency's the space. It's just an experience. So there's a whole different playground. That for me, it's a big thing, because of obviously with Dad and his cancer thing, and he became aware of how much people were feeding that during this, you know, the last probably, I don't know whether it was early on in the piece or later on in the piece, but I know we had this conversation about I pulled up this cancer thing about supporting cancer. I had a friend doing running or doing some, you know how they do all those bits and pieces, and she was getting sponsorship, and it was the whole the whole poster thing, and it was a medical sentence, support the doctor as something with a cancer thing, and it was, the way it was written was so full on. If you took it in English terms and looked up every word in the dictionary, it would say we are supporting this, you know, we're supporting literally feeding it. And this is what, you know, this is what we don't understand, the variance of what we're saying. have ripple effects of outcome. And and then you've got the emotion attached to the disease or whatever. The whole thing is people will get angry, and that you'll see posts on social media and stuff, about cancer sucks or blah 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 blah, or whatever, or repost this in support of cancer. Well, all you're doing is feeding more of that focus into the world, which becomes more of a playground for it to be experienced, which becomes a dominant source of at the moment it's a dominant experience in humanity. Whereas something like polio isn't focused on as much. So therefore the experience is not the same. And then you can say, oh, but we've got drugs and bits and pieces and whatever. And that'll probably come, when they all start giving up and smoking marijuana or doing whatever they want to do. I don't know. And when the vibe changes, if that's what they want to do, or if they want to believe self-heal or whatever their choices, when that becomes non-fed issue, that'll be less dominant in our playground. I think what we're getting at is how we feed everything. And so, like you're saying with your what you recognised, especially that epiphany that night that we shared, is that it was serving a purpose for you. And this is what everyone's got to understand. It's serving a purpose for them and understanding themselves. So is that right or wrong?
Yes. It's perfect.
Exactly. And and a lot of people feel that, especially that cancer, we're using cancer as an example, the cancer world has given them a lot and helping them go, grieve and support, like with when someone's dying, you get a lot of help, so they want to give something back. So you just got to understand where you're at to really know. There'll be a lot of us that will go in there and we've got no idea and we'll just carry on. But and hey, are we meant to know, or are we just meant to experience? We talk about this, we're so curious in life, especially us, we're very curious and like to see how things tick and stuff. Is it relevant? Not necessarily. We make it relevant because we give it focus. And that saying that,
huge gift for me then to go back to just experiencing.
It is, but I think you get to that point though. I really do think you get to a point of it is just experiencing. The whole detachment of outcome. Yeah. Your thoughts are going to come. You want to plan that, and it can be as curious as you want, but it's actually okay. And it's not dominating. And this is where, Vanessa, you're probably traveling through at the moment, that's what I'm saying, is that the shift and changes of gaining that awareness of what's going on within you. And now you're actually picking up, and the gaps are bigger and the bits and pieces, and you're now starting to start. And that's the shift and change of you coming into that playground, is that all of a sudden it's going, oh, well, does it really matter? I'm here now. I'm just going to have a cup of tea.
Yeah. So I have a question formulating about cause and effect, but I'm not too sure exactly what the question is.
Oh, I like that. Well, when you know. When you know.
I was hoping you might know.
Depends what you want to make of it. Yeah, and it really depends on what you want to make of it. So how are you thinking?
I'm just, what am I thinking? That I've always felt like there was this relationship between cause and effect.
Yep.
But now I'm feeling maybe it's not. Maybe it's more the same.
Yeah. I think as you delve into anything and get more curious and become more aware of everything is what it is, it depends on how much energy you want to give it. So cause and effect probably has a space once you choose to sit and talk about it. But it may be looking at the attachment that you have to that, and now you're starting to let go of, oh, well, does it really matter anyway? Because look, we can say, if you do this, even the karma stuff, if you do this, karma will come back. Well, that's a belief. But, you know, that's a belief that's installed. It's gone through for years and years and years. And seriously, let's all turn into these lovely, awesome people that we are. And, you know, reality is all the shit that we've done. And so is that going to hit us in the face? Well, if we think it is, it's going to, isn't it? If we believe in those sort of scenarios, it's going to. Yet then you're saying if you vibrate from a very high space, you have great experiences. You know, and that also is a belief. But they can only be great experiences when we have contrast of believing one's great and one's shit. Because they're both just experiences. You see how crazy it gets, though? That's exactly how, you know, you could, it does, and the thing is, you know, that's the keeping it simple. You know, it is, like we say, it is what it is. And we are curious and we like to see how life goes and we like to tap into, and we're, you know, and we are aware that if you want to look at cause and effect, we can play that game and it will have an outcome because we believe it to be so.
Well, I think I just go back to the start of, like tonight when we talked about alternate realities. So if there's, you know, if there's all those alternate realities, then how can there be a very clear cause and effect?
Yeah. So at the end of the day, we're here to experience.
Yeah.
And does it really matter? It only matters if we make it matter.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whoa. That's very cool.
Yes.
Yeah, I know. And so you just ring up on someone else's birthday, meet them at a cafe, celebrate their birthday and talk life, and you're all sorted, mate.
Only if it's a great being's birthday.
Every being is great. Celebrate every day. Yeah. And I think that's, you know, that's the simple, that's the thing. Everything turns up when you're not trying. You only have to that thought only has to come into mind. You only have to send that message. Your answer's instant. You know, we're talking scenarios that have come over in the week, especially with you, Vanessa. I'm just referring to, like, you're thinking about something and then Tyler turns up, you know, to Yaz is the son at my son. So he turns up and Vanessa's sitting there interested in stuff going on with the daughter, which is a similar age. So they're talking, and the synchronicity in that. And the thing is, no intention was made. And this is what we're going to understand. We're all about intention, our intention. How you function as a human being, it's all prepared and around you. It's how open you are to receiving that space to play in. So we're all about intention, our intention to this. When attention is you're making, I don't even know the word, or if we looked it up in the dictionary, to have some connotation to it. But for me, intention is making an effort to, isn't it? Place, focus on. Yet your natural state of being is functioning at that from a frequency within you anyway. So you don't have to think, I need to find or do this, because the person's going to turn up and the answer's going to be made, or you're going to walk outside and you're going to have an epiphany, or a drop on the head will fix everything.
Wow.
I'm looking at you going, you got it. I'm looking at Vanessa going, hang on.
You've lost me. And to go, what's going through in my mind is that
Go for it.
I feel I'm questioning and wondering, is there an intention somewhere within me that it's almost like it sits with my intention about being a good parent, that I know.
Yeah. It's your doubt. The whole thing is, as soon as you question something, you're looking for something.
Mm-hmm.
So you're already a good parent. So that functions naturally.
Mm-hmm.
Only the thought of you not being a good parent can play the repercussions of that. Life will play that to you.
Mm-hmm.
So life plays you the difference. So your intention to be a good parent, I would have thought, would be a natural state of being.
Mm-hmm.
It's no thought. There's no thought. That's just an innate space of pure love that you are.
Yep.
And so there for me is that in every moment you are in that space until you take yourself out of that space. And when you take yourself out of that space, you're playing in a field of either doubt, fear, questioning your own abilities, questioning your mothering, all those sort of things, and then they'll play out in that reality. So when it comes to, and that would be attached to an intention of wanting to be a good mother. So that would sit into your living room instead of being in the kitchen. Where, say your kitchen was your fully the house. So say the house is the full being.
Mm-hmm.
And you've got fragments playing on. So literally you almost move out of your house. You almost move out of your house to play intention. Do you understand what I'm saying? That's probably stretched it. No, maybe go back into the living room. So, yeah, okay. Yeah, I've made it too confusing. Yeah.
It's funny, the way I heard it was that you
okay, go for it.
The way I heard it was that you actually don't even need to have an intention.
That's what I'm getting at, yeah.
It's just in your being.
Mm.
Actually, the more that you just be.
That's exactly what I'm saying. Sorry, yeah, that's very simple. Yeah. Your natural state of being here now is all you have to be.
Yes.
Yeah. So once we place all these other elements, they're all playgrounds. Intentions are playground, emotions are playground, spirituality is a playground, relationships are playground, sports playground, health's a playground. They're all playgrounds out. We're the same. The idea is to be the same person in every playground. Mm-hmm. And once we feel that we're not that same person, then we've got to look at maybe that's a good question. What are our intentions here? Because we're separating ourselves. Or, I think once you question yourself, you've got to be aware that what focus you're bringing on to yourself, what sort of questions are you asking yourself? Because I don't know what I'm trying to think of questions that come by for me. Probably more, what the hell am I doing in this moment? Like bringing me right here. And why am I choosing to play in this? Why am I choosing to be in this temperament cooking tea tonight? And then recognizing, it's because I don't want to be here doing this. And those things are probably more my sort of questions, is at bringing me back into the moment. Or making myself aware of my choices in this moment and how I'm choosing to play, and just to, like, suck it up, sunshine, and you've chosen this moment to be like that. You can stay like that, or you can enjoy peeling potatoes. It's just a choice.
Yep.
So, I don't know. We went tangenting. I did anyway. But I think we gained something out of that. So I don't think we're... Yeah,
I just asked Yaz if she has any questions. No, she's just saying no thanks, I'm just enjoying the flow. I've had a lot of positive reinforcements and reminders. Thank you, beautiful ladies.
Oh, thanks, yes. To the lady in the dark room. She could be in the toilet. That's well. Or the photography room, the dark room. I think anything out of this moment right here, right now, and once you start thinking, is you've just, that's where are we gone? Where are we gone? Where are we gone? That's as simple as it can be. Reality, though, you've got kids going to school, doing bits and pieces, and your thoughts are because that's human. I think to the ultimate state in being, if we are so chillaxed, and this is a bit interesting with Gabrielle and her boy growing up, but I noticed the difference in bringing Tyler up. Yes, it's one compared to the three I had previously, but yes, I changed a lot of the way I was, which affected the environment, which affected him, which played out a hell of a lot more smoother, which we've shared quite often about his outcome, and which we can see today. It doesn't make it all gloss and glory. The reality is it swims a lot smoother without being the sharpness of what could be, and just continuously seeing myself in his reflection, you know. And which is Gabrielle's taken it 10 times deeper even again, because she's just totally from a very young age, Patty's getting that. So it's going to be interesting watching how that formulates. Look, there's no right or wrong, but I think that's the whole generation shift, which we've been talking about, is the black and white with mum, dad, yes, no, that was it. And then I kind of brought up the 3 with a little regimented, and I said they're mini me's, they're not actually themselves, because I was formulating them how I want them to be, and they become that person. So they're not themselves. I've done that, and then they have to break away out of that and find themselves when they go, whereas Tyler obviously was lucky enough to find himself a lot earlier, and that's what they've all said. You've got a 30-year-old and then you've got an 18-year-old, and they're just at the same point of finding themselves, and that's come down to a whole different way of allowing and upbringing. And then you've got Willow at 5 coming to live with us, and thinking far out, oh God, I'd do something different, and blah blah blah. And that's a whole new level again. And then owning my reactions to what the 5-year-old was bringing out of me, and it's like, whoa. And then just finding that peace within it and allowing it to be, and it's all okay. And and not getting and so she's like that in between. There's a Tyler, there's a Willow, and then there's a Patty, and they're all at different ways. And it's just, well, I think Gabrielle said the other day she took Patty to a playground, and someone said, gosh, you're so relaxed. Share that with Vanessa. That was awesome. Yeah.
It's exactly what you said. It was exactly what you said, Ali. Just being around other mothers, and it was fascinating, actually. Just I didn't know any of them, but listening to the way that they were talking and their experiences, and I was just like, oh wow, I could have sat there and had this whole conversation with them if there'd been more time, but just
you
it was
probably
amazing.
were in another reality.
What's that?
You probably were in another reality.
or she could have been one of those mothers. Nah, balance it out, you'd be the same. But and I think that's it. I think that's what I mean. There's nothing to do. As the moment comes to you, you can address the moment. That's all there is. But don't preempt a moment that hasn't arrived. And if you're holding this space in this moment to be a really, enjoyable space, the continued moments will be enjoyable no matter what's going on, whether it's a good or bad experience, because you'll find something like the tree that will be just like an epiphany that strikes you when you're sitting there lying in bed and the sun's shining in, and it's actually it was a beautiful day to lie in bed. It was a beautiful day to be up as well, don't get me wrong. Sunshine was out there. But how precious.
I was waiting at the coffee shop.
Sorry?
And coffee shop.
Yeah. And then I got that perfect morning tea, and then everybody joined us.
Yeah.
So, our family did anyway. But you know what I mean? It's like, you can't, just by enjoying one moment, the ripple effect.
Which I think answers my other question that I'm often contemplating, is that I always hear you say there is nothing to do, yet I see you always, doing and creating amazing things.
Yeah, and it doesn't feel like I'm doing anything.
Wow.
Because, I think that's what I mean. It's still, I'm trying to say I'm busy in doing nothing. Because I'm not going to sit here and say I don't do, at the end of the day. The reality is I could sit down and write that book that's sitting in my head. That would be really focused doing. Yet this book that we've got that's running around came together by just writing in the moment, and then it all collected itself, and then I had some paintings to chuck in, and then all of a sudden I thought, it all did its own thing in its own moment without me going from there to there. I didn't have to start writing and I didn't have to stop. You know, I know a lady at the moment that's taking time off work, and that was one of her big things, that she's got a time frame to do her book. You know, I think it's really cool that you can do that, but it just, for me, it's just like, it just evolves anyway. You know, it's like the paintings and, you know, the play. So tonight, I jokingly, my girlfriend who gave away one of my art pieces on the weekend, she does a bit of reading and stuff, and she knows I don't really what do you want to read for? But anyway, before I come on, I was like, have a bit of fun. So she said, did anyone want to read? So I wrote, yeah, me. And she's like, you can imagine what she's sitting there going, oh, for God's sake. Anyway, and then she's entertained as well. She's starting to laugh because she knows I never do. Anyway, she goes, okay. And she's whatever she did. Anyway, she got this totem pole thing, and Ellie, I've got this totem pole, blah 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 blah, whatever. And I'm starting to laugh because just before that I'd mirrored a tree from Fraser Island with a few rocks through, and it's so totem pole. And I'm sitting there going, you know, and it's just being present in that moment. You know, it led to that moment, and for her it was like, oh my God, you need to make lots of those what do you call it, the oracle cards. Oh, I want a set of those now. And I'm like, whatever. But and as aware as I am, I know it's that simple. Just, I'll play here and I'll play here. You know, you do 40 cards over a year. You've got a pack, haven't you? So it's not hard, or it's not rocket science. It's just presence in the moment, and then if something does come together and collect itself, so be it. It's, you know, it becomes something more, and it's, you don't even realize you're working. That's the whole thing. Going out for coffee and talking to you is social for me, yet people go and do that and get paid for it. I'll enjoy getting paid. I'll enjoy getting paid, and at the end of the day, I'm not limiting the stream of how it flows. I just think it's all about sharing, and I think I need to emphasize that, and that's what I'm saying, is about not holding on to anything and allowing it to flow. So my girlfriend, for example, who has a beautiful infinite gold painting out of my book, out of my paintings, it's actual the original canvas. She decided that she's going to do 100 days of giving away things. And so she's given away that. And it's like, that to her was her biggest attachment. And she rang me a day before, said, I'm just letting you know I'm going to let it go. And I'm going, I had to let it go as soon as I painted it when you took it. You know, because she bought 3 paintings, which I actually quite liked. And most of the ones I really attached to went straight away. So I was like, yeah. And so I learned detachment pretty quickly. So she's learning detachment, you know, years down after this. I know this is a big detachment. But anyway, the beauty of that is, as she let it go, she opened up and shared her culture book through what my work had shared with her and what she brought out in her culture and a cultural understanding or perspective on it. And I reckon she's opened a doorway now for that to step up and come through, because she's allowing something else to be part of her life, whereas that was quite strongly holding her in that zone, you know. And yeah, when you let go, everything flows. As we know.
Let it go. Just let life flow. Just let it come, let it go.
I was referring to the toilet, but the song was pretty good.
Yeah, no, I've got a song brewing on that one.
Do you have a song for everything, Gabrielle?
Yeah,
nearly. It's amazing. I get these insights, and then the songs just come, and it's like I keep singing them until I record them, and then they stop.
It's really interesting. I think that's a really good point. And I think that's once you give, so if you do keep getting repetitive stuff, then you acknowledge it. And once you've acknowledged it, you know, unless you need to really take note, it'll come back again.
Oh, isn't that interesting? Isn't that interesting? I didn't even really look at it that way.
But and that's what I mean. So for me, you know, I say to you, and this is how momentarily it becomes. Well, it has for me, is that you can be in this moment, and then I can be in my Atlantis creative art moment, and it just comes. But as soon as you're done, gone. And you said how fast it appeared, and how much, you know, like I took that and put it into clothing stuff. Oh, that's really quick. That's how fast. That's how fast. You're sitting there scribbling. Next minute, you've got a dress.
Oh my God, that was amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, and but it's left me now. Like it's not even you know.
Yes, I get it. Hence the recording the songs and then they're gone.
They're gone. Yeah, and it's almost like, oh, okay, I'm over that. Yep, next.
Yeah. But I get it, because I can now see that I'm actually embedding and understanding through repeating the songs.
Yeah.
And then I get it, and then it's like it's gone.
Yeah.
But they do come back.
Well, you've got an album. Murray said you've got an album.
Yes.
Yes, you know, we're all waiting and seeing you up on the global stage, singing away. Yeah. We'll be your, what are they, groupies?
Yeah.
With your Goopology t-shirt.
I'd like you two to be in bikinis though. Bikinis.
Oh no, I was planning Ugg boots.
You can wear Ugg boots on the bottom.
I was like, just Ugg boots. Oh, okay.
No.
Yeah. I was like, oh, waxed or I was waiting for it waxed or unwaxed, depending on what time.
Oh, that comes back to your whole thing about being comfortable being naked.
Yes, yeah. And that's, I think, coming back even further, is once you've exposed yourself in total vulnerability, there's nothing to hide, and it's really simple living.
Oh.
And I think, you know, like, let's face it, if we all walked around naked, then we'd get over that. No, it wouldn't be of any interest whatsoever. You know, like at the moment it's all hiding. So it's all layers, you know, layer over layer over layer over layer over layer, which is exactly what we're doing in people presenting themselves differently to different situations, layer over layer over layer. And harder for the authentic self to be there. But authentically vulnerable, turning up just as you are. Okay, we dress. The reality is, if we were all to be naked, would become okay with that. I don't see an issue. It's just because we aren't doing that. It's just, but there are people that choose to be that and totally play in that arena, and there's another playground. It's not right or wrong. It's just another playground. You know, I think it would be easy for my husband. He'd prefer no clothes. Well, I think my son's going to end up the same way. It's just not. You know, that's just they're comfortable. I'm cold. I'd rather have something on. Well, whatever. I've made that up. But anyway, that's how I feel.
I'm thinking about having no washing. How good would that be?
Oh. See, the simple way. Yeah. How hard have we made it? It's just
where you went, Vanessa.
Yeah. I'm just thinking I won't be designing dresses.
Yeah. But your art could become tattoos instead.
Yes, definitely funny you say that. Yes, that was my thought on the weekend again. I've had that for a long time, designing some tattoos, but I kind of, again, it's that moment. I'll come and I'll draw and I'll go, and I trust that moment. When it comes, it'll be, if that's what I'm doing. Yeah, I don't know. I suppose it comes down to how comfortable you are not knowing what you're doing. Just wake up in the morning. Whereas, you know, most of us get up, have to go to work, organise kids, and it's all kind of formulated. I still believe it's possible to play momentarily and be present enough, because you just formulate everything, just everybody falls into place, and there's not so much banging heads, because we're all in this good space, and this one's out of the shower early, and this one's doing this, and this one's, and it's all flowing sweetly. But it's that as soon as that one thought is, I've got to be up, and I've got to have those lunches done, and I've got to have the kids at school, and I've got to have, and once you've got all those, every child's going to respond to that vibration. Believe me. Yeah, but yeah. Until Goop does it her way, and then we'll learn something new. By that time, we'll be all wise, and it'll be a whole new swing.
Whole new swing.
Yeah.
Whole new swing. Whole new swing.
Yeah.
Funnily enough, I noted Ali as we were walking through the supermarket today. Paddy, he likes to be out of the trolley now.
Yeah.
And he grabbed, the first thing he grabbed was 2 little containers of milk. And
Yep.
he was running around with his milk. And then he put them in the trolley and he went over and he grabbed the eggs. So Vanessa, Paddy, there's been this play going on about Paddy's allergies, and his allergies are dairy and eggs.
Okay.
Biggest 2, and then a series of other things. But I was just like, I was so entertained. I was like, oh, buddy.
You're playing me well. You're playing us well. Yeah.
Yeah. It was very funny. It was very funny.
He did that with tomatoes too, didn't he? The whole tomato issue. Yeah.
My whole tomato thing, yeah.
Yeah.
But funnily enough, he had tomato today, and he was fine.
I said to you, that's what I wondered. Yeah. Oh, it's going to be interesting. It'll be interesting how long he wants to play. We were just discussing that allergies are playground too, as much as they're reality, because they have their science behind whatever, because we've made it that way, because now we believe it, and that's formulated into that playground. And for those suffering allergies, will have their story as well, which is right. And so with Paddy, we're just curious because we're openly expanding the unlimited potential of whether he chooses to have an allergy or whether his body will shift and adjust into, actually, now I'm over that. I don't want to play in that playground anymore, and I'll play in this. Just with the freedom of, like we talk, limitless possibilities, alternate realities, multiple realities. Which one do we want to tap in? Which one is he playing? Who are we here?
Yeah, I love it.
And it's funny with allergies, because when I took him to I can't remember what she was, but she was saying to me, basically, she explained it really well, to say that it's basically his body thinks that it needs to go into the flight mode, or one of the mode, like respond negatively to something. It thinks there's a threat.
Yeah.
So it's not necessarily that there is a threat, it's that the body thinks there is a threat.
Yeah.
So
wow.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, isn't that cool?
Yeah, it makes it seem like it is something that is a choice, that his body is choosing to see it as a threat, as opposed to it being something like the science being harder than that. So, yeah.
Wow. And that makes...
Yeah, kinesiologist.
Yeah. Well, that makes it even more funnier, because especially with the tomato thing we had when we were at your house, that
blue cheese.
Oh, blueberries, was it?
Blue cheese.
Oh, blue cheese. Oh, blue cheese. Yeah. Well, that played out well. But no, the day when you were telling me about the tomatoes, because it was like he knew, like he was picking them and he was looking and say, I'm not meant to have these. I'm not meant to have these. And then you gave up. So in your giving up, I wonder, and now he's had a bit of tomato. That's really interesting. And thus far it hasn't affected. Yes.
And when I say little, it was in a Dalmati.
Yeah.
No, it didn't.
That's cool. Wow. Watch this space.
Yeah. I know. And it's going to be curious to see how much I actually feed it.
Yes.
If I was to say, okay, buddy, if you want to have some cheese, have some cheese. And let's see,
Yeah. Yes, that's a whole interesting topic in itself, especially when you're looking at kinesiology perspective. And again, the power of thought and the power playground. I like how many realities is he playing and which one is he choosing, and allowing him his expression, because he may enjoy that playground. Seriously, but it's not attaching our outcome to it.
Well, and it's not contributing to it either.
Yeah, nah.
But I don't, Anyway, it's a curious one because it's like, how do you not get involved when you deal with the consequences?
Yes, but there's consequences because we know there's consequences, so therefore there are consequences. Yeah, I know. How deep do you want to go down that hole? Like, seriously, dude. So it is what it is. And he's played tomatoes at the moment, and he's now laughingly playing. But imagine on an energy scale his connection to the fun that milk and eggs bring. So he's picking up, like if we were believing in the vibration frequency of fun is really high vibration. So outcome is high end living. Nice outcomes, not devastational, not debilitating to their health and stuff. So imagine if all his cells were having fun carrying milk and eggs around, and then all of a sudden he's sitting there going, oh well, they're actually quite fun now, I might eat them and they're all okay.
Wow.
Wow. Imagine if he shifts into that that space.
Wow.
I'm not vouching to try it because it is what it is, and it's his experience, and I don't know what he chooses, and it's yours as well because it's in your environment, and I can watch from the outside. But the reality is that
he was really enjoying just those little milk containers.
I know. But I mean, look at the connection. And it'll be interesting from that scale of things.
Yeah.
And it's just having fun with it, isn't it? And at the end of the day, whether he has milk later on or doesn't have milk or whatever, it's purely doesn't matter because as long as he's happy,
Exactly.
I know today there's so many variants of allergies and variants of experiences. So then is that we're talking way back before about alternate realities, multiple realities. One section of ourselves could be in the kitchen having lots of allergies, but in the dining room we're actually okay to have a feast. So do we just slipstream into because understanding your body's totally healable, we can heal our body, blah blah blah, we are that sort of person, therefore the possibilities are that you can just shift the room by, I know I can go to that room and eat that because it's okay. Anyway, I've rambled.
And you'd have to really believe that. You'd have to really...
I absolutely. One ounce of doubt can create shit. At the end of the day, I'm not ignorant to that, and that's the whole understanding of that vibration is that if we choose that, it'll be interesting. Yeah, because obviously we're using Paddy as an example, but he's come into this life experience and he's at his age, whatever he is, because I don't really get age, so I'm looking at him a bit like 2, and so at the end of the day he's having his experience and he's already adapted his own thoughts and his own feelings and his own whatever, so he's functioning from his own frequency already, seriously. He's attracting every single nook and cranny that matches that space, and so one little bit of negativity that we don't know is going on in his mind can create a whole different outcome. And not that we see them that way because we see him as happy, because even we walked down the street the other day and Tyler said, we saw some kids playing and Tyler went futuristically, something about the age and whatever, or Murray might have gone, they're this young, but wonder what something taken from that moment to future moment of being older. And Tyler goes, it's probably not even on their mind, they're just having fun. And that's the simplicity of where kids are at. How complex are we? Like, seriously, dude. They don't even think. They're just out there to have fun. They're out there to kick their... They don't... Yeah. Moment by moment. Yeah, moment by moment. Oops, we lost Vanessa. She's back again. What is the time? 1:30. How are you doing? I'm getting a good sweat up here though because I'm under the heat pump. I must have needed a bit of warming up. My soul must have needed warming.
Your soul.
Yeah, so that's our playground. Yeah. Anything else you want to throw in there, Vanessa?
No, I think I'm all good, thank you. My arm's getting very tired, so it might
of course,
be
ready to go.
for me to go.
Yeah, that's good. Good timing. Good timing. Yeah.
Right.
Oh, thanks for joining us.
Oh,
Thanks.
been lovely.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's not something I've ever done before, so I was a bit hesitant about the whole Zoom.
Oh, awesome.
And so it's been really lovely.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
Wow, you're really being vulnerable lately, darling, aren't you?
Now, Vanessa, I don't know if you know, so we would like your approval. And, well, Yaz hasn't said anything, so... But we would like to use, to make the material publicly available. So I don't know how you feel about that, if you're comfortable. I think you were saying today, Ali, that whatever we're going to use, you could have a look at Vanessa anyway beforehand. So...
yeah, I think that's the thing. I think what our intention is to have this as an open room. So literally, as we're saying about being naked, it's literally sitting there. So the idea here is to share openly and vulnerably, because it affects everybody experiencing that, and it has an ultimate effect, ripple effect on them. Understandably so, if you're not happy, we wouldn't do that anyway, because it is what it is, and we really don't care whether we do or don't. Our intention outside ourselves is to share this more vulnerably, so people do get the good, the bad, the ugly, because it's all the same, and everybody gets to understand that there's, we're all doing it, we're all doing life, we're all experiencing it, and it is what it is. And let's kind of I don't know, it's just allowing people to find us, to share in it, and express an understanding of their own experience is actually the same as everybody else, and there's nothing to do but be. Yeah. And yes, like Gabrielle said, we'd make sure that you guys were like okay with it. We'd pass it by you if we chucked it on, or you could watch it on video. Make sure there's nothing that you didn't want anybody to see you or whatever, then that's all cool. Because I think at the end of the day, as I said to Gabrielle, there's probably things that we can take as an voice things and chop and change and stuff, but our full intention purposeful right from the start was to place it all out and make it so, like, she's got her little YouTube channel. Yes, but it'd be sitting on a YouTube channel where people can just come and watch.
I love it, and I'm happy with anything that I've shared.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, I'm more concerned about how many chins I might have given the angle my phone is on.
I'm sitting here thinking about how I've got a suntan now.
Yeah.
Nah.
Can you edit them out?
Yeah, if only. Because the real you is okay, seriously. Yeah. And I was going to say, and if you have a reaction, I'd be really curious to work on that.
Okay. Gold.
Yeah, that's what it is. Well, thanks for joining us, Obo.
Yeah, thank you. It's been lovely. So good night to you all.
Good night.
Bye.
Oh, double wave.
Yeah,
double wave.
We look forward to having a voice next time.
Yeah, nice to see you, Jazz. To see you nice.
I don't actually know how to turn you off, so just don't say anything about me. Oh, here's the leave button. Bye.
See you guys.
Bye.
I've got
Sorted. Thanks.